Several years ago, I got called out for a storm watch. I was a paid-on-call firefighter at the time, and when the radio goes off, out the door you go. So I went out into the dark, watching the sky, waiting to see if a tornado was going to drop. And Jeff was home with our 6-year-old, who was scared and wanted mommy. There was a stretch that night where we couldn't reach each other. I didn't know what was happening at my own house. He didn't know if I was okay. And neither of us knew if that tornado was going to touch down on top of the people we love the most. I had the training, but what I didn't have that night in that moment was communication. And that's what today's video is about. When people think about emergency preparedness, they think food, water, generators, first aid, all important. But there's one skill that gets overlooked again and again: communication. Because when disaster strikes, information can be just as important as supplies. So today we're going to walk through your options. The simple radios anybody can pick up, the licensed services, satellite tools, and why ham radio is still one of the most powerful preparedness tools out there, and how everyday volunteers keep communities connected when everything goes dark. Picture a hurricane that's just passed through. Cell towers overloaded or down, internet gone, power out, roads blocked. What's the first thing you want to know? Is my family safe? What's happening the next town over? Where are the supplies? Which roads are open? How bad is it really? Without communication, you're operating blind. I've been blind on a night like that, and it's a feeling you don't forget. Preparedness isn't about having resources. It's about having information so you can make better decisions, avoid danger, and stay coordinated with the people who matter. Here's one of the most important principles in a true emergency. Use whatever communication method works. On a normal day, regulations decide which frequencies and services you can use. But when there's an immediate threat to life or property, emergency rules generally let operators use any means available to get help. In that situation, the goal isn't compliance. The goal is saving lives. That said, learn and practice the legal methods before an emergency. Trust me on this one. You do not want your first time on a radio to be the night the sky turns green. A lot of people assume ham radio is the only option, but it's not. Let's start simpler. FRS radios. Family radio service. These are your basic walkie-talkies. Probably the most common option out there. The upside, there's no license required. They're inexpensive. They're easy to use, and they're great for families and small groups. The catch, they have limited range. Terrain in buildings sometimes hurt their performance. But for keeping tabs on family during an evacuation or around the neighborhood, these are generally pretty useful. GMRS radios, General Mobile Radio Service. Think of this one as FRS's bigger sibling. The upside, they have more power. They have access to repeaters, which extends their range. So they have greater range overall. The catch, they do require an FCC license in the US, but one license covers your whole family. So for a lot of prepared families, GMRS is the sweet spot between a simple walkie-talkie and a full ham radio. Don't forget CB radio. Citizens Band has been around for decades, and it's still kicking. There's no license required. It has a long history of emergency use. It's common among truck drivers, so there's always traffic on it. The catch, they do have bigger antennas, and they can get pretty noisy and crowded. CB shines for highway travel and regional situational awareness. If you want to know what's happening on the road, the truckers already do, and they're talking about it. Satellite communicators. These have gotten popular pretty quickly lately. Little devices that talk to satellites instead of cell towers. They work when the cellular system fails completely. You can send text messages, share your GPS location, send an emergency SOS at the push of a button. Unfortunately, the equipment can get pretty expensive, and there's usually a subscription fee on top of that. But for hikers, travelers, and anyone in remote country, they can be worth every penny. Now let's talk about ham radio, because this is where it gets powerful. Ham operators have access to a wide range of frequencies and methods. Depending on the gear and conditions, they can reach across town, across state, across the country, around the world, even in space. They can use voice, digital messaging, email over radio, and emergency data networks. But the real advantage isn't even the equipment, it's the community. Ham operators train, practice, and build networks long before an emergency ever happens. So when disaster does hit, those networks are already there, already connected, and already trusted. One of the most valuable things amateur radio does is relay information. Say a whole community loses power and internet. A ham operator can carry information out to emergency management, neighboring counties, or to relief organizations. Things like road closures, supply shortages, shelter status, medical needs, infrastructure damage. And here's something I learned on the response side. The most valuable message usually isn't the dramatic rescue call. It's the simple report that helps people in charge understand what's happening on the ground. For those of us in hurricane country, hurricane nets really matter. A hurricane net is an organized group of radio operators who track storms and relay information before, during, and after the worst of it. They can provide weather observations, storm impact reports, damage reports, requests for assistance, situational awareness updates. When the normal systems fail, these networks often keep right on going and become a lifeline of real-time information. Skywarn trains volunteer weather spotters to observe and report severe weather. The people out there watching the sky, so the rest of us get a warning in time. Spotters can report tornadoes, hail, flooding, high winds, and storm damage. Their reports help meteorologists confirm what radar is showing, and they can sharpen the warnings that go out. That night I told you about at the start, that was a Skywarn night. Eyes on the sky, radios passing information, people I'll never meet helping decide whether a siren goes off. When normal communication breaks down, ham operators step in and carry those reports. And reports like that literally save lives. I've seen it. Now, whatever gear you do choose, every family needs a plan. So sit down together and ask, who do we need to reach? How do we communicate if the cell phones fail? Where do we meet if we get separated? Who's our out-of-state contact? What's our backup if the first method goes down? Because here's the truth. A radio without a plan, it's just another gadget. But a plan is what turns that gadget into capability. Preparedness isn't just about supplies on a shelf. It's about keeping the ability to communicate, gather information, and make good decisions when the systems we lean on every day stop working. FRS, GMRS, CB, satellite, ham. It doesn't matter which you choose as much as this. Have a plan and practice it before you need it. Because in an emergency, information isn't just power. Information can save lives. If this was helpful, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to Equipped and Ready. And drop a comment. Tell us what communication methods are a part of your plan. We enjoy reading them together. Stay equipped, stay ready, and stay connected to the people you'd cross any storm for long enough to matter.